to help fund it, Western Fireworks has been meeting a bigger portion of that, and they just can't take that on anymore. So that's what led to the meeting with that group. So, but to your question, and so that you can relate back to faculty, that the city really has nothing to do with the event that goes on.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. When I first got on the council, I had the same belief because I had showed up in Canby, and here was this event, and I thought it was a municipal event. So it's an easy thing to do. But then when I found out that there was a nonprofit running it, and especially after I got on the council, and became aware of the ways that things that government shouldn't do if private organizations can. So we stayed out of it, and even though frankly there was a constituency saying we should get involved with it, that at some point there may be a need, but the city's position has been to stay out of it. This is a nonprofit organization. So I wasn't able to attend the meeting, not sure quite what's going on there, but it's something that I would like to see come back before the council, because I think it does have policy implications, that if we start putting money into it, if we start getting some organization into it, then it does become a city event, and I want to have more control over it. That if you're going to, I do not want to separate authority from responsibility.
Sure.
And in the past, we haven't had any sort of responsibility and no authority. So once those lines start blurring, just like any sort of event that Main Street would put on and that sort of thing, I'd like to make that clarified. So I'm going to trust you to notify the council when it gets to that line.
Yeah, right now, based on our meeting the other day, the city is just acting as a conduit for conversation, trying to add some structure and perhaps some leadership to the conversation.
Yeah.
The organization that is looking to truly be the active participant is not the city.
Okay.
It is an entirely different organization, and we're just there to add brain power and contribute, I think, probably the same things that we've been contributing to this point. Rick, am I leaving anything out on that?
You're exactly right. In yesterday's meeting, which was the first gathering of the group, it was pretty clear to me that we needed some group that had the technical wherewithal to launch a campaign that wasn't going to take a lot of staff resources, so social media and the ability to contact key personnel. So we're investing our staff, but we are not investing city resources. We won't be paying for the fireworks. That's off the table. In the longer run, as in 2016, and it's happening kind of by default in 2015, but in 2016 and subsequent years, we're anticipating that General Canby Days, the nonprofit that does the daytime activities, will be taking care of what happens during the day, but the fireworks display will fall under another nonprofit organization that we think will be pretty successful about it. And they haven't talked to their board yet, so we won't identify who that is. And then our role will be to step out and perhaps provide technical help as fundraising ideas are generated, to see if because we have technical and IT support that I think could be beneficial in this particularly in our economic development activities, we can insert ourselves in key strategic areas without spending a lot of staff time or any city financial resources to support the effort, and yet that'll help it be successful.
Well, and to that point, Rick, too, I think Lila, Ms. Codman, who's in the paper article, said that group does not want to do, they would like to get out of the firework business, and so we want to try to help them get to that point of doing that. And so that's where I think they can, which sounds like they will be doing their contribution that they have this year. If they will, which I think they will do, provide that amount this year, then if we work collectively, I think as a city through business resources and donations and other kinds of activities that will hopefully generate and round out what else is needed because Western Fireworks Display has said, hey, if you guys meet this, we will match in kind with,
Right.
you know, with the, they just want to cover their labor costs and whatnot for their people, so.
And Mr. Mayor, I want to underscore the point you made, that Western Fireworks are not the bad guy in this
No,
situation.
they are not.
That for years
Yeah.
and years, they have helped subsidize this.
For a long, long time.
And they are making a reasonable business decision. And Rick, I'm going to tell you that I've heard someone tell me before that there's going to be a line between what the city does and a nonprofit. And for some reason, an outside organization came up with this great idea to have flower baskets. And they were going to do it, and it was going to be that nonprofit doing it, and by golly, we ended up doing it. So I'm a little skeptical when I hear people say, you know, there isn't going to be scope creep in this.
They're actually, the nonprofit that we believe is going to step in has very high credibility, it has a long-standing, and in fact, this type of nonprofit is very traditionally accepting the role of supporting the fireworks displays in communities throughout the country. I can't go into any detail until they decide.
I understand. I'm just saying sometimes I don't trust government.
I can't argue with you on that one.
Can I get a copy of this case?
So, Mr. Mayor, if I could add to that.
Yes.
Just so everyone knows, too, that Canby is not the Grinch that stole the Canby Day fireworks.
No, that is correct. We will be able to have Christmas in July, yes.
Yeah, and this, and I just want to make it clear, the fireworks show is going to happen in 2015. We've already made that commitment to Western
Fireworks display.
Fireworks Display. And so they have scheduled a person to do the fireworks show. Now we just need to raise the money. And I also want to point out, and it was said once, I want to just make it really, really clear. Western Fireworks Display has offered at yesterday's meeting, as they have done in the past, to match with whatever fireworks we can purchase as a group, to match that amount. So if we come up with $6,000 to buy fireworks, they're going to display $12,000 of fireworks. That's the commitment that they made yesterday. So this is a really big deal.
It's a huge deal, and the great thing with the conversation was that everyone at the table, and including Western Fireworks Display, understands what we have been trying to do here for so long, and what we continue to try to hold on to. And those are things like tree lightings and 4th of July parades and fireworks, and they very much want to be a part of that, and they want, as this being their hometown, to be a major player in that. And that has been the way, you know, the current owner is. That's the way it's a family business. Her parents owned it and handed it off to her, so they're very much ingrained in this community, and they want to see this be the fireworks display that draws people into Canby, because we don't have it anywhere else around here. But when you can't put forth a solid fireworks, people are not going to come and spend the day, and so that's what we want to have happen. And so I think we'll have a great display this year, and can keep it going for years to come. So
I appreciate your leadership on this, Mayor.
I like fireworks, so thank you, both literally and figuratively. So, all right, thank you. A great conversation, everyone. I guess we're on this next opportunity for citizen input. If Bob, you'd like to provide some more input?
No, I'm done now.
All right, perfect. Kim, action review this evening?
You have adopted ordinance 1415, and you've approved ordinance 1417 to come up for second reading on May 20th.
Great, and this evening we do have an exec session, so we will put our regular meeting here on pause, and I need a motion to go into exec session.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank
I
you.
move that we move into exec session for ORS, is it the real property? 192.660, parent 2, parent E, real property.
Thank you. A second, please. Second. Motion's been made by Councilor Hensley and seconded by Councilor Roche to move into exec session under ORS 192.660, parent 2, parent E, real property. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Great. I will read my little announcement. The City Council will now recess this meeting to meet in executive session for the purpose of discussing real property. The executive session is held pursuant to ORS 192.660, parent 2, parent E, which allows the council to meet in executive session to discuss those topics. Only representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. The council will adjourn to the city council conference room to hold its executive session. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of the session, we may reconvene the meeting in the City Hall conference room and conduct any further business that needs to be taken care of. Any questions on that from up here? No? Great. Canby, good night. We'll see you in a couple weeks.